welcome to the Scholars Forum, your favorite online TV show. This is where we bring you the right guest and we ask the relevant questions in order to get you well informed. On our show today, we are having time with the Youth Parliament of Sdd-Ubids, and we'll be interacting with them to get you inside of the Parliament and also other matters arising. Stay connected. My name is Clovis Kejitan, the Informer and Reformer. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. This is the Scholars Forum where we interact to inform and we inform to reform. I'll go ahead to introduce our honorable guest to you from Youth Parliament and we continue with our discussion. So on the show today we are joined by Honorable Dediha Edit. She is the clerk of the Youth Parliament Sdd-Ubids, right? Okay. All right. And we are joined by Honorable Enuram Philemon Badago, and he is the Majority Chief Whip of the Sdd-Ubids Parliament House, right?
Yeah.
All right. And we also have Honorable Aguma Sebastian Mbabugri. Honorable members, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so today we are going to be interacting with you on the Scholars Forum today to be finding out some matters arising within the Scholars Forum. Right. All right, so fine lady, let me start with you, right? Yes, Honorable Edit. Yeah. Yes, so kindly tell us a brief history about Youth Parliament, Sdd-Ubids, how it came about, at least a brief background.
Youth Parliament is an association that was formed in 2010 as a result of the rampant growth of demonstrations and violent actions by the youth. And one Honorable Suleiman thought it wise that it's better we create a platform for the youth where they can express their thoughts and their views on national issues which they've been denied previously. So that's when it came about, and it has been started in the institutions or at the school level because it has been adopted by the national level, and as a way of spreading it across, it has been institutionalized in the schools, and that's how Youth Parliament Ubids came about. So basically it is a platform where youth are given the opportunity to express their thoughts on national issues, and also they are being inculcated in the spirit of advocacy, youth activism, and also given the opportunity to bring up development projects through our outreach programs. So one of the ways that we are able to contribute our quota to the development of the country is reaching out to the less privileged community, and we have done that in one of our recent projects, that is policy dialogue on the topic or on the theme sending teenage mothers back to school. So basically that's what Youth Parliament does.
All right. So I've also learned about tree planting and other stuff.
Yes.
Are there activities you undertake?
Yes, we holding debate sessions to educate ourselves on parliamentary proceedings and other stuff. We also do tree planting. We also do things that target solving basic problems in our societies. One of them is the tree planting. We also do sensitization programs from time to time.
Okay.
We also host radio programs just to talk about issues that affect the youth and the communities.
All right. So basically, it's for young people to
Yes.
contribute their quota to national development.
Yes, please.
All right. That's very good. And per what you said, it means that has been the issue.
Yes, the youth were not given they don't have the platform to express their opinions. So the Youth Parliament came in that form.
All right. But you mentioned something which is very important to me. You mentioned something about dialogue, right?
Yes.
What was it about? Let me go to Honorable Sebastian. Yeah, she mentioned something about a dialogue that you undertook. I think sending teenage mothers back to school. So kindly take us through this project.
Before I try answering your question,
Okay.
I'd like to use your platform to thank our honorable patron and Plan Ghana, if you like, Plan International, for their partnership where we're able to get the funding for the policy dialogue on supporting teenage mothers get back to school.
Okay.
Actually, this whole idea came up when we realized that at the national front there were efforts made to get our teenage mothers back to school. Okay, and this was as a result of the rampant teenage pregnancies we're recording, where research showed by Ghana, that was published by Ghana Health Service in 2020, that in every 1 hour, 13 teenagers get pregnant.
Every 1 hour?
Every 1 hour.
13 teenagers get pregnant?
Yes.
That's a very serious issue.
And in a day, about 301 people get pregnant, average.
In a day?
In a day.
Wow.
So we realized that there was need to join the voice of the Ghana Education Service, Ghana Health Service, and that of Plan Ghana, which also looked at championing the cause of getting teenage mothers back to school. Because you realize that when they get pregnant, after they get pregnant and they deliver, they become mothers. Most of them are marginalized. Most of them are not allowed, or they are unable to go back to school to partake in curricular activities. Okay, and this is actually a problem that we may need to look at and revisit, because it puts the girl child in some, if you like, jeopardy, in a form of jeopardy, where their academic credentials, their academic aspirations and what is stunted. And so we went into a dialogue to meet stakeholders in 3 selected communities to see how best we could carve out policy guides or policy channels to be able to actually get the teenage mothers back to the classroom, so that we are not doing the campaign alone. So that informed our policy dialogue.
You mentioned 3 districts, right?
Yes.
Can you kindly name them?
We went to Jirapa. We also went to Lora. And that of Lambusi.
That of Lambusi.
Yes.
All right. And then you also mentioned stakeholders.
Yes.
So who were the major stakeholders in this project?
So the major stakeholders in our project was Ghana Health Service, Ghana Education Service, DOFSU, Shiraj, MOFA, Social Welfare, the chiefs, parents, teenage mothers, then members of our parliament. We also had the youth groups that were around the communities, and most of the communities we visited, they had youth parliaments, and so we engaged the leadership of the respective youth parliament, so that if we have varied views, people from different schools of thoughts, to contribute to our probing questions in ascertaining channels of which we could get the teenage mothers go back to school.
Fantastic. Let me go back to Honorable Philemon, right? Yes. So, Honorable, what inspired this project?
Okay. Thank you very much, Kinky. Just as our clerk was saying from the beginning, Youth Parliament engages in outreach programs to help or give back to the community.
All right.
So somewhere last year, when the previous administration was about to hand over to the new administration, they had to sit down to look at which area or which sector we can impact or give back to society. So after sitting down for a while, after deliberating on issues, we went through the statistics issued by the Ghana Health Service and realized that the teenage pregnancy is on drastic increase. So we want to find a way of helping solve the issue. We also realized that there are other policies in the system already. Ghana Education Service has this campaign already going on, back to school campaign. The other NGOs also put in their effort to make sure that these pregnant girls are able to get back to school. But the issue we discovered was that why are these policies not working? Why are these major policies failing? So the policy dialogue idea came up to engage the people these things affect, so we can get the ideas from them. You can't prepare some food for somebody without asking the person the food he or she likes. We want to get the issues from the ground. We know what's going on. What do you think can be done? What do you think cannot be done? What do you think we can do to shape the whole thing, so that when the policies are brought on board, all of us can grasp it and make use of it, so that can help these mothers back to school. That's what inspired the whole project in the first place.
So as you mentioned, there were already existing projects.
Yes.
But you came to restructure them.
Yes.
Right?
We came to, I made mention of the fact that some of the policies are already in the system, but they are not yielding the desired results. They are not working. So I remember one of the times we went to the community, some of the stakeholders were saying that when the policies are deliberated at the national level, they don't involve them, and they just push the thing on them, expecting them to implement them, and it becomes difficult implementing.
All right.
You get it? That's why we brought the policy dialogue in place. Let's have the chat with them. Let's know the actual problem from their perspective. So when they are bringing the solutions, we bring the solution that can help them from their perspective.
Fantastic. All right. So let me come back to you, Honorable Edith. Today you are looking very sweet.
Thank you very much. You don't look bad yourself.
Thank you very much. All right. So I want to find out about the general response. The overall response concerning this project. Okay. I believe it's something you've already done.
Yes.
Okay, so what was the general response?
Okay, I won't continue with my comments if I don't acknowledge the massive support we received from each of the district assemblies.
Okay.
They were very, very effective in bringing out the stakeholders as and when we needed them.
Okay.
So from my perspective, the response were very, very encouraging. I myself, I was impressed. You know, some of these stakeholders, they are not directly affected, but the passion that came out from their their suggestions and their response was very encouraging. That means they are willing to work. They are willing to do something about the situation, and it was also impressive such that not in a bad manner, but some of the stakeholders were correcting the other stakeholders as to where they were doing something wrong. We were trying to correct each other as to what you did right, what you didn't do wrong, and it was very, very impressive. And I think if we push this further, we'll be able to do something about the situation. So the response was good, and we came up with the stakeholders gave us a lot of beautiful suggestions that when deliberated on, looking at the constraints and their ways they will push them forward, we can get good results.
All right, good. All right, Honorable Sebastian, let me come back to you. It was a dialogue, right? Yes, so I want to find out some of the causes of these teenage pregnancies, right? I believe once you are trying to solve it as a problem, we have to also look at the cause. So what were some of the causes you discussed or you came across with regards to the teenage pregnancy? Because you mentioned that every hour, about how many? 13 people get pregnant, 13 teenagers.
Yes.
And within a day, 301 people. That's very serious. So let's look at the causes. What are some of the causes of these teenage pregnancies?
So during the policy dialogue, we also probed on some of the causes, like you said. And key among them is sometimes in fact, generally, we, the stakeholders, are the main causes of teenage pregnancy. For instance, some grown people or some learned people you expect not to do it are doing it and getting our teenage mothers back to that problem. But the key cause is one of the issues we have observed through the policy dialogue is that lack of serious education from the side of parents. Okay, parents shy away from discussing some sexual issues with their wards, which is actually causing teenage pregnancy.
So we have either lack of or inadequate sex education.
Inadequate sex education.
Okay.
And inadequate sex education as one key aspect, one role the parents are failing to take. You see, parents are shying away to speak about sexuality to their wards, which is very important. Another thing is poverty. We realize that some teenagers indulge in sexual activities because of the fact that they are unable to acquire or get some basic needs. Another issue that has to do with the menace of teenage pregnancy is the use of social media, websites, and what have you. Okay, it is exposing our wards to a lot of dangers. I think very recently, some people were trying to prompt National Communications Authority on the fact that there are a lot of pornographic materials that is exhibited in our public domain that needs careless look, because most of our kids or young brothers and sisters in the high schools are actually exposed to some of these things, which is leading us to no good. Okay. Also, you know, several issues informs teenage pregnancy, and to discuss them now, we may never finish today because of
exactly. Okay, let me come back to Honorable Philemon, right?
Yeah.
Yes, so Honorable Sebastian has mentioned several causes. Okay, and you know, we can't always wait for teenage mothers to get pregnant and we now send them back to school. Definitely they'll get pregnant again and come back. He has mentioned finances, right? He has mentioned social media and lack of sex education, right? And if we send these people back to school, still they are lacking these things, right? So it will come back to the same issue. Exactly. So have there been any discussion about an extra project that will support to solve this issue? Prevention is better than cure.
Exactly.
So is there any issue or did anything like that come up?
Oh yes, it's actually part of the policy dialogue.
Okay.
We want to understand from their perspective what can be done to curb the issue. Okay. Before I come in, I want to chip in this, that we are not supporting pregnancies We are not, some during the community dialogue, one person was saying that it's like you are encouraging people to get pregnant because
So
I know that
in
in my house they don't support me to go back to school. So if I get pregnant, I can get people to support me. But the idea is not to make people get pregnant and we can support them. We are not in favor of people getting pregnant, but the thing has already happened. Okay. So what next? So one of the things that came up was that, we look at the cost and effect and look at the solutions to it. The other aspect was that we lack general counseling in the schools and even in the homes. As Honorable Sebastian mentioned, some of the parents shy away from discussing these topics. So one of the solutions that one of the stakeholders brought up was that GES can bring in some curriculum to help the students, even at the school level, to help them understand some of these issues. During the puberty period, it's a very, very turbulent issue, turbulent period for the youth. And then during those times, people want to experiment, people want to know things. They want to test, to know whatever is going on in that area. But if you have serious counseling units in the schools, even down to the basic level, you can get people on board. Another issue was that...
But don't we have counseling units in schools? Because the school I completed is a counseling unit.
The basic level, we don't really have them at the basic level. Okay. You really find the counseling units at the tertiary levels. Okay. But JHS, primary, you will not really see those counseling
I think
units.
I had a counseling unit back at my senior high.
Senior high, yes. But junior high, do they have it? No. So that was one of the main areas. Another area was like, one major thing one of the stakeholders mentioned was like, we should find a way of instituting bylaws at the community level so that those who impregnate these girls, they are punished by those bylaws, so that you can't just go about impregnating girls. That was one of the things that came up. So the community leaders can also pick up this idea so that they can even discuss at their level. Okay. Let's institute these laws. If you go and do this is what we will punish you with. It will actually deter the others from getting in touch with this kind of girls. Okay. Another solution was that she mentioned some time ago that some of the mothers, when they are coming back to school, they are shy. The way they will be stigmatized and all those things. Exactly. So the stakeholders, some of them suggested that if that's the case, some of them don't have people taking care of their kids. Okay. So let's set up a daycare unit closer to their schools. When they come, they leave their kids there. They come in so that they can go through the schooling system.
I think that should be a very brilliant idea.
It's one of the ideas they brought on board. Yes. Last year, I would like to mention that there was some NGOs there as stakeholders. We had Comfort, we have Vibrant Village, and many other stakeholders, other NGOs. Okay. So they too, we've been giving them nod to deliberate this issue further, so they can come up with possible ways of curbing this issue.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So, but then let me come to you on our edit. Okay. There's this issue with finances, right?
Yes.
And I think that is also a very critical problem facing these teenagers. Yeah. So, has there been any discussion with regards to how to empower them financially? Well, youth parliament, I believe you do empowerment.
Mm-hmm. We do empowerment activities from time to time.
All right. So, is there any way you would like to contribute to solve these financial issues? Okay. Because all that we are mentioning, if we do all that and still the financial aspect is not handled, it will still come back to the same.
Exactly.
Okay. That's why in the first place we are having these discussions, because the dialogue session hopes to tackle the various aspects, things that can promote teenage mothers going back to school and things that can deter them from going back to school. Right. And one of the interesting things we talked about is the finances. Okay. And what the policy dialogue in its structure is not focusing on the national support. We are looking at what can be done in the house, at the community, and at the district levels or at the local governments. This one. So ideas came about. Some of the stakeholders suggested that some of the NGOs in the community that we can support the parents of these teenage mothers so that they become financially empowered. That once their kids are back to school, they have the money to support the younger ones they produced or something like that. Okay. And the community in its own can also generate some source of incomes. Maybe they can do some, let me say, a set-aside community farm that whatever money they are able to raise out of that farm will be sent towards supporting the teenage mothers to go back to school. So yes, we discussed issues of finances, and we can't say them here because I don't know.
There are still plans.
Yeah, they are just ideas, and we are yet to put them into structures. But generally, we talked about how we can support the teenage mothers back to school financially.
Okay. And do you intend to get sponsors for this?
Yes. So the after effect of this dialogue is to put all these ideas that we have gathered together check mark them and see the ones that will work, the ones that will not work.
Okay.
Now, the ones that will work, who and who do we need on board to push this solution up? That's when we would come, if we would have to bring in other organizations, and most of the stakeholders promised us that they'll be willing to help us. They are willing to help whenever the needs arise, and we want to push on with the next agenda. So yes, once the ideas are sorted out, the ones that will be able to work, the ones that will be able to be achievable and sustainable, we'll bring the various people who are willing and can support, then we can push it from there.
All right, fantastic. Honorable Sebastian. Yes, so let's look at this. I don't know, when you were mentioning I think you mentioned certain things. Did you mention anything like Plan Ghana?
Yes, I did.
You mentioned Plan Ghana.
Yes.
What's the role Plan Ghana is? What role are they playing in this policy dialogue?
Plan Ghana actually played a very critical role, and that's the funding for the entire policy dialogue session. Okay. Yes, so they were our biggest partner for this particular exercise.
Okay, yes. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Honorable Philemon, I want to find out, now we are done with the dialogue, right? Okay. So what is next?
With this whole policy dialogue, the outreach program, the way it started, we are not only looking at discussions, then we leave it at that level. Okay. We have actually structured it in phases. Okay. So the policy dialogue, we just organized the phase 1. Okay. So as Honorable Edith said, we will sit down, go back to the drawing table, put the ideas together, see the ones that are feasible, those ones that are not feasible, we know how to go about them. Okay. Those that are feasible, we know who to contact. So the phase 1 is for us to analyze every critical information we got through this policy dialogue. When you put everything together, then we move on to the phase 2. We structure it.
So what you did is the phase 1?
Phase 1, yes. Okay. Phase 2, fantastic. We structure it, put it in proposals, contact those who can help us, or the other stakeholders, the NGOs I mentioned in my earlier submission. Okay. You can get them on board to push the agenda to the next phase. Okay. So that's the whole thing now. So as at this stage, we are still preparing to launch into phase 2.
I get it. So how do you intend to sustain this program? Honorable Edith.
Okay, well, we can't.
For the phase 1, you are done.
Yes.
How do you sustain that it is in progress? Like, how do you make sure that it is in progress?
Yeah, I think the sustainability comes in when we break the activities down. I will very, very acknowledge the efforts that our patron put into this, because he has structured this project particularly in such a way that we tackle the issues at the basic level. We don't always want to be putting our hopes and trust at the national level. They are also having their own problems of their own.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go for a quick commercial break, and when we are back, we'll continue with our discussion. Stay connected. Welcome back to the show. This is the Scholars Room once again, and our conversation is going to be continued. All right, so let me start with you, Honorable Edith.
Yeah.
Why do you really want to send teenage mothers back to school? Why not get something for them? Maybe some skills, maybe businesses and all that, but rather focus on sending them back to school. How sure are you that they will even feel?
That's a very interesting question to ask. And to be honest, records have it that women carries the majority of the population. And we women, we have the power to cause change. And education is one of the ways which we can cause the change. I mean, positive change that the world wants to see now. And if we have all our girls that are pregnant not having access to at least the basic education, so that they can be assertive, at least they have the opportunity to even express themselves. Just to express themselves. If they can do that, they can do a lot. And if there are so many options, and it's not all of them that will want to go back to school, but at least they deserve basic education. If you finish at the senior high school level and you maybe want to venture into something else, I don't think that is a problem, but at least you can be able to express yourself. You can build your own confidence that wherever you go, you can, have that confidence.
But I believe you are very much aware that it's very hard for a teenage mother to go back to school.
Yes, I know it's very hard, but we want to give everybody the ability. At least you should be able to have the ability to express yourself. And if you don't give yourself the opportunity to go back to school, how then can you do that?
By the way, has the
very hard makes it why we should
by the way, has the teenage mothers even told you that they want to go back to school?
Oh, some of them will have, I mean, personal engagements with some of them. They want to go back. Just that there are some things that are pushing, like something like the marginalization. Their friends are laughing at them, so they can't go back. Some of them is the money issues, and I'm sure they want to go back to school. At least it's not like we are forcing them also, but we want to give you the opportunity to learn up to some points, whatever you want to get to, so that you put yourself at the standard. At least you can be able to express yourself wherever you go.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Honorable Philemon. Yes, are there any other upcoming projects or any other activities that the Youth Parliament are undertaking or going to undertake aside this policy dialogue?
Oh yes, for Youth Parliament we have a lot of activities.
Okay.
Some we'll do now, others we'll do later.
Okay.
But the main ones I would like to chip in that we have our usual sitting coming up. Where we sit and debate on issues.
How is the sitting done?
It's just like the National Parliament sitting. We have the majority caucus, we have the minority caucus.
Okay.
We have our leadership there too. Just like
so you are mimicking
Parliament.
what they do over
Yes,
there.
but the difference is that we are not partisan.
Okay.
You don't do MPP and DC. When you are coming, you ballot. When you're a new member, you ballot and you get your caucus.
But definitely
belong
there's
to.
still partisanship because we have different chambers.
We have the majority caucus and the minority caucus, but it's not like the partisan as we see in the National Parliament.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
But the activities you have coming up are quite.
So, by the way, what are some of the issues you discuss on your sittings?
We look at the trending issues in our country today.
Okay.
You get it. I remember one of our sittings we had in the past. We were looking at. Let me look at what we are looking at in the future. Okay. We are looking at, maybe, for example, this e-levy thing that is in the system. People are still contemplating whether they should pass it or they should leave it. Well, that's one of the issues we debate on. Okay. The UTAC strike can also be a topic, the motion that we kind of debate on. Okay. We look at all the possible areas you can dissect the issue. Okay. So in the House, when you are debating on this issue, we can debate in the House, but when you come out, we are not enemies. We just debate it, looking at the various viewpoints we are bringing on board. So the issues, the motions are dependent on the current things that we have in the country.
I got it.
Yeah. Yes. So the activities we have coming up, we have capacity building workshop. You know, it's not only about the debating. Okay. We organize capacity building workshops where we train people in different sectors or different areas. Okay. We have the outreach programs like we discussed. Now there's another project that we have coming up. I'd like to chip in. My right honorable speaker will beat me small, but I'd like to chip in. We are planning on launching our magazine. Okay. We don't have the magazine project in any other institution. We will be the first. We are trying to launch it very soon. All right. It will come out. And when people, I'll use this opportunity to welcome writers and those who would like to do editing and all those, the photographers and all those.
How does one become a member of Youth Parliament?
For the Youth Parliament, you just have to pick a form. Okay. You show interest. Okay. We let you fill a form. You follow the procedure. After filling the form too has a kind of set of questions.
So any youth can join?
Yes, any youth can join. Okay. But then we have age group. Okay. We have an age group.
What's the age group?
I think what's between 16 to 35. 35. But in our university system, you will not get 35 like that, but then from 16, 17, 18 going.
Why 16? Why not 15 or 10?
We are looking at the age bracket.
All right, wonderful. Yes. All right, that's okay. Honorable Edith, let me come back to you. You are an integral part of Sdd-Ubids, right? Yes. So what are some of the benefits the school derives from Youth Parliament? Just a few of them. Okay. If only there is any.
All right, so we do contribute our quota. In as much as we are Youth Parliament members, we are also students of the school. So whatever issue that's going on in the school, some concerns us, and as youth advocacy-based organization, we also contribute our voice or opinions on things that are going on in the school through the right channel. Let me add that. Okay. It's very important.
So have we done anything like that already?
I think in the past, previous administrations wrote petitions on trending issues as at then to whosoever that the issue is being addressed to.
Okay. So even if you are talking about the benefits the university derived, we cannot talk about or we cannot overlook the trees we planted and some few.
So you plant trees on school?
Yes, we did. We planted several of them. He mentioned them during the presentation.
All right.
So if we have planted trees for the university, you realize that the university is actually going to benefit in the nearest future. But the only problem, and I would like to state on your show, is that we have some few individuals. I don't know how to describe them, but I would like to describe them as greedy people who are burning our trees.
How are they greedy?
Yes, because I don't understand why. Because of grass hatters,
Okay,
hoppers or something.
Okay.
Or I don't know what they normally would want, but you just find a bush being bent down.
So has there been any measure put in place to curb that?
So we spoke to the security apparatus of our university.
Okay.
And we are watching very keenly to get someone to use as a scapegoat.
All right, so I think this tree planting policy is going to be a whole discussion on the scholarship
Sure.
so that we dissect into it very well.
We'll be grateful
All right.
to have.
Yes, so once you are the minority leader, that's deputy minority leader, right?
Yes.
So how are you handling issues in the house? Because you go into debates and all that. Are you the best chamber?
Yes, we are the best team.
Because the minority leader is not here.
Please, we don't want to have this conversation here. We can't have this conversation here.
Really?
I can't separate
Like,
fights.
you just say that on the show. You're not even shy.
Minority has always been factual, okay? You know, Parliament is a house of records. No, let me make a point. Parliament is always a house of records.
Okay.
And you can trust the minority caucus for records, for quality of information,
Really?
quality of data.
That is what you are saying.
That's what you are saying.
That is what you are saying.
That's
So
what
when we
you
get the
do.
majority leader on board,
Rationality
I understand.
is one thing you cannot wash out.
All right, so we are going to be taking your
Minority
final remarks so that we wrap up the show, right? Yeah, so let me start with you, Honorable Philemon.
Okay.
Your final remarks.
Okay, so in my closing remark, I would like to tell those out there still contemplating whether they should be part of youth parliament or not. This is an opportunity for you to get on board to unlearn the things you've learned in the past, really learn new things, and really learn a lot of things that will build you up as an individual with much experiences to impact society. I would like to thank our dear patron, Dr. Adams Abdullahi, for his massive support throughout this entire season. He has been our backbone. I'd like to thank our Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Matthias. I would like to also give shout out to my course rep, Kingsley, and the entire Become class, and my entire church people. Thank you very much. And we thank Scholars Forum for giving us the opportunity to come on this show.
All right, Honorable Sebastian, your final remarks.
So in my my closing remarks, it's prudent I use an African proverb that says that we should, if we cannot live long, we should live deeper. If you like, you can call it an Italian proverb, but when I grew up, I heard it in Africa most because I've never gone to Italy. In fact, my remarks is that we, the youth of our country, must be proactive in everything we do. And so even if you are not in the Sdd-Ubids community, you should find yourself in, I'm sure in every district or near your district, we would have youth parliament. And I'm sure it will help you in grooming you to becoming one of the proactive persons in our nation, okay? Because advocacy, democracy, and what of you we are preaching here can actually be done in your respective communities. And you can imagine if the policy dialogues we are taking, some of the programs we are building is able to be translated in some of our communities, we can be sure of building a nation that everyone would admire. And so my admonishment goes to the youth that we should get very concerned about our nation, because our country, Ghana, it is going to be for you and I. And when this generation passes, we will now be responsible for it. So it's important we start learning how to groom it, how to grow our nation properly, okay? So that if we cannot even live long, the shorter periods we are going to live, we live actually deeper. I would like to extend greetings to almost everyone I know, most especially my beloved family, my friends and relatives, and all the people that matter to me, especially those of you who contribute in my life. I learned from you in one way or the other. Either you taught me a bad pain, of which I'll never forget and I'll improve on, or you taught me a very good one that I'll always remember and appreciate you for. Thank you very much, Scholars Forum, and thanks to the Youth Parliament for allowing me to also appear on the Scholars Forum to share my views and my thoughts concerning our nation. Thank you very much.
If we can't live longer, we should live deeper. All right, that's a very fantastic quote. All right, Honorable Edith, your final remarks.
I want to thank Kinke and your team for having us on your show today. I also want to thank National Youth Authority, Upper West Directorate, for being one of our sponsors and supports in our activities. I also want to acknowledge the work of our caucus leaders. They have been doing actually well. Just that I want to leave this message that each and everyone, just as my caucus leader said, we should be involved in the process of change. And I also want to appeal other organizations or individual bodies that would want to engage in the sending back our teenage mothers to school, that it is very important. And as a mandate of Plan Ghana, of the Lead and Decide program, education is one of the ways that our girls can reach the level where they can make good decisions and lead for themselves. So we should all come on board, join hands together, and make this change happen. Thank you very much. And I want to say shout out to my family and friends. I love you so much, and thank us all. God bless us all.
Thank you very much, honorable members, for joining us on the Scholars Forum to discuss these very important issues. And I would like to wish you well in your activities. And to our viewers, we thank you very much for always staying with the Scholars Forum for the best. We thank everyone who has been following us on our social media handles, and I encourage those who are not following to kindly follow, because we always bring you the best. This is the Scholars Forum, where we interact to inform and we inform to reform. I am Kincaid, the informer and reformer. Stay blessed.
Audio Jungle.